Hello and welcome to your practice. Today is a really fun session because we are not just going to break down one posture or two postures, but we're going to break down a really commonly practiced flow of postures, a sequence of poses linked together. But you're already ready for them because it's a linking of all of the postures that we've gone over in the last few sessions. So if you didn't do the last few sessions, you'll want to go back and really familiarize yourself with the postures of child's, of plank, and of downward facing dog, and also chaturanga dandasana, that triceps push-up, and upward facing dog. All of those postures are going to be a part of this sequence that we'll do today. This is one of the most common series or sequence of postures that you will ever see in a flow style class. And it's referred to as a vinyasa. You might even hear a class labeled a vinyasa class. That doesn't mean that this is the only thing you're going to do all through that class, but often this exact sequence of postures will be used to link other postures together and to keep your body flowing and warm throughout the practice. And so it's a really good sequence to feel comfortable with and to feel familiar with. And I'm going to show you two different versions today. One that I will call a kneeling vinyasa and one that will be from a full high plank position. And you can do either one every time that you practice a vinyasa. Or, like I do, you can pick and choose and intersperse both into your practice. So, we're going to begin in extended child's posture. So go ahead and place your feet about hip width distance apart. Make sure that you're sitting down all the way as close to your heels as you can. And then begin to come into Balasana, child's posture. And just take a few breaths here to settle in, making sure your arms are long and making that initial connection of each finger pad to your mat. Really meeting the mat and your earth support here in child's. Then we'll shift forward right from here into a kneeling plank position. This is posture number 2 of our vinyasa. And again, in plank, just like we've gone over before, you want to make sure your back isn't sagging. Make sure your hands are providing a firm foundation. Your shoulders are strong. And then just go ahead and sit back to posture number 1, your child's. And let's keep warming up the wrists and the back and the hips by just shifting forward and back. From a low plank or kneeling plank back to child's posture. And you can follow your breath, breathing in and breathing out. And we'll do one more like that. And now we're going to add a piece. So shift forward to your plank, your kneeling plank. And then we're going to take that triceps push-up, that hover push-up all the way down to the ground. So before you go, shift forward, really lengthening out a little bit. You want your head to move forward and your shoulders to move forward an extra inch so that your elbows are stacked right over your wrists. And then slowly lower down, letting your elbows hug the sides of your body. It's okay if it didn't go smoothly. If there's a little bit of a thump to the ground, that is fine. And let your forehead rest. So that's the third piece, that chaturanga down to the ground. And then part 4 is cobra or bhujangasana. So for this one, lift from your thoracic spine, your upper back, and start to roll up off your mat, letting your head come up last, looking ahead, cobra posture. Take a few breaths here. And then lower back down. And we're going to head right back to where we began, and that will be the full kneeling vinyasa. So press into your hands, engage your abdominals, and shift all the way back to child's posture. So that is a kneeling vinyasa. Let's try that again. Make sure your hands are settled in, your elbows are lifted off the mat in child's. Shift forward to your kneeling plank. Take a little extra shift forward. Lower all the way to the mat. Roll up, lifting the chest. Roll back down, lowering the head. And press and pull back to end right where you began in child's posture. And keep flowing with that, shifting forward, kneeling plank. Take a little extra shift forward, hover down. Roll up to cobra. Roll back down. And press all the way back. So we have, I'll do the Sanskrit this time. Uttata Balasana, extended child's. Shift forward. Chaturanga Dandasana, four-limb staff. Bhujangasana, cobra. Back to Balasana, child's. Four postures. That is a kneeling vinyasa. So take a little breather here. Make sure your wrists get some TLC. You can feel good to bring the backs of the hands together. Take a little moment. Give your shoulders some attention, circling them out. And then we're going to take this up a level in intensity and just change it up a little. And we're going to do it from our feet. So it'll be a downward facing dog to a high plank to Chaturanga Dandasana, but from the feet instead of the knees. And then to upward facing dog instead of cobra. Now, when I'm teaching a class and it's time to take a vinyasa, I almost always give people the option or recommend that they choose for themselves if they'd like to take that kneeling version that we just went over, or if they'd like to take it from their feet. So you can do the same in this tutorial as well. If you just don't feel quite ready for a high plank or any of those other positions, you can come to your knees. That's always okay. Always take care of your body first and foremost. So we'll start in child's posture. And then instead of shifting forward from here, we're going to tuck our toes. We're just using that child's posture as our setup position for downward facing dog. So tuck your toes, make sure you're feeling happy in your hands, and pull back to find your downward facing dog. And take a few breaths there. And when you're ready, shift forward to your plank position. Now, feel free to drop your knees here. Kneeling plank is wonderful. Absolutely. Then we're going to shift forward like you're looking out over the edge of your mat and hover just about halfway down. Chaturanga Dandasana, and I won't leave you there too long. We'll come to the tops of the feet for upward facing dog. It's okay if you're down here in Cobra. That is great as well. And then we're going to pull right back to downward facing dog, tucking the toes and pulling back. So that is it. You can lower down. That is it. That's a full vinyasa. And at first it feels absolutely wild to the wrists and the shoulders because as humans, we spend a lot more time, or almost all of our time, on our feet. And our hands and our shoulders are not usually weight bearing. But I can speak from personal experience and watching and helping so many people in their yoga practice that over time you will become happy using your hands and your arms as part of your base of support, and you won't know how you ever live life without that as part of your routine. So let's do it again. Coming back to extended child's posture. We'll tuck our toes and lift up to downward facing dog. We'll shift forward to plank. Take a little extra shift forward and hover partway down from your knees or your toes. Then flip your feet. Come to the tops of your feet into your nice long spine for upward facing dog. And then tuck your toes. Pull back with lots of strength to end in your downward facing dog. If you're feeling good, we don't even need to break in child's posture before the next one. We can just shift right away into plank position, shift forward, and maybe you drop your knees down and hover halfway down, but you still feel ready to try upward facing dog. You can move right in from that low plank. Tuck the toes and pull back. Let's come back to a child's posture this time. Taking a little breather, lower the knees, release back and down. And then we'll go again. Pressing into each finger pad, tucking our toes, lifting to downward facing dog. I'll say the Sanskrit this time. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Shift forward. Chaturanga Dandasana. Tops of the feet, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward dog. So posture 1, plank. Posture 2, chaturanga. Posture 3, upward dog. And then you end up right back where you began. So that is a vinyasa. One other thing I'll go over just for those that may have seen it done this way or kind of frequently asked questions to cover. Sometimes you might see sort of like what I call a swoop in this, where there's kind of a movement from plank posture and a lowering of the upper body first, like that. That might feel good once or twice or even for a period of time in your practice. But over time, I believe it puts unnecessary wear and tear on your shoulders for sure. So even though that's kind of a traditional method that you might see a vinyasa practiced, I really think you're going to get everything you need and keep your shoulders happy longer by shifting forward and just coming halfway down and keeping everything strong and stable. So there's no need to kind of swoop the chest underneath the shoulders. And that is one of the key questions I get. Another question I get that just popped into my head is about feet flipping. People see that really cool thing where there's a transition between upward facing dog and downward facing dog that goes like this. Let's see if this happens. So we're on the tops of the feet, and then in one smooth motion, someone goes up and back. That's great. It takes quite a lot of core strength to feel that light on your feet, that you can flip them at the same time comfortably. And if that's where you are, you've probably learned to really utilize your upper body with strength and your core, and it doesn't roll or feel uneasy at the ankles at all. But what I will tell people is until it just feels like it almost happens without thinking about it, don't worry about it. Just take your upward facing dog and flip one foot at a time. That will eliminate any chance of you injuring or making your ankles feel uncomfortable. All right, so just as a little bonus round, I will have you come with me to the top of your mat in mountain. And bring your hands to the front of your chest. Slowly reach up to extended mountain. And bring your hands through the center as you hinge from your hips into a forward bend. Take a little look forward, planting your hands firmly on the mat, and step one foot at a time back to your plank posture. So it's a big step. We'll go from the knees this first time, shifting forward and lowering all the way down to the ground. Roll up into cobra posture and lower down. And then press back to your child's pose. Take a breath. From here, we'll tuck our toes and lift to downward facing dog. And then take a look forward to the front of your mat. Step your right foot forward into your lunge. If it doesn't get there, help it along. And then step your left foot forward, taking a little half lift. And then take your bow, forward bend. Look forward, press into your feet, bend your knees, and reach all the way up into a very gentle back bend. We'll end up right back where we began in mountain posture. So right there is one round of, or one leg leading, so half of a sun salutation. And we'll do the other leg now, we'll do the other round, and then you'll have done a whole sun salutation as well. Reach up, forward fold, look forward. This time lead with the other leg, so maybe your left foot steps back first, come to plank. Shift forward and come from your knees or stay on your toes to hover. Then come to the tops of the feet for cobra or upward facing dog. And then we'll pull back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. When you're ready, look forward. Step your left foot forward to your lunge. Follow with your right foot. Take a half lift. Forward fold. And reach all the way up into a gentle back bend. and return to mountain. So now today, in probably the biggest physical practice so far on this journey, we have learned a kneeling vinyasa, a high vinyasa, and also as a bonus round, a full sun salutation or Surya Namaskara. So beautiful job today. You are all warmed up to go about your day or your evening with ease, or of course you might decide to continue practicing from here. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you again next time. Namaste.